This is the video for the 6.4 to 6.6 study guide. Alright, so remember I told you that we're going to start doing review problems from previous tests to get you ready for the PERT. So this is a equations of a line question. Use the slope-intercept form of the linear equation to write the equation of a line with the given slope and y-intercept. So remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope, so we know that's 5, and b is the y value of the y-intercept. So if I have m and b, I can just plug it in. Y equals 5x plus 1. And that's your answer. Okay, this should actually be x equals negative 2y. 5x plus 1y equals 27, x equals 9. Okay. Alright. So, the first thing we're going to do, since we're going to use substitution for this system of equations, because this is perfectly set up for substitution, is where it says x here, we're going to plug in negative 2y. So that's 5 times negative 2y plus y, 1y and y are the same thing, equals 27. So this gives me negative 10y plus y is equal to 27. Negative 10y plus y is negative 9y equals 27. Subtract both sides by negative 9, and you get y equals negative 3. Then you're going to take this, and you're going to plug it in here for y. So you have x equals negative 2 times negative 3 instead of y, because we know y equals negative 3. So x equals positive 6. So your ordered pair is 6, negative 3. Okay, solve the compound inequality and then graph the solution set. So first things, remember, we want to isolate the variable, but in this case we have to do it 3 times, all 3 pieces, here, here, and here. So we add 3 to get rid of the 3, so you end up with 12 is less than or equal to 3t, which is less than or equal to 21. And then you're going to divide all 3 pieces by 3. So you get 12 divided by 3 is 4 is less than or equal to t, which is less than or equal to 7. So if I were to graph this, remember these are the easiest ones to graph, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because t is in between 4 and 7, so I'm going to shade in between 4 and 7. Now remember, we don't use closed circles anymore, we use brackets. So because it's or equal to, it's a bracket, and use shade in between it. So t is in between 4 and 7. Okay, so now we're dividing. This is dividing by a monomial, so just break everything up. So you're going to do negative 20x to the 6th over negative 4x to the 5th minus 12x to the 5th over negative 4x to the 5th minus 28x to the 4th over negative 4x to the 5th. So negative 20 divided by negative 4 is 5. And all of these cancel all but one of those. So I'm left with 5x. Okay? So we have 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. And x to the 5th and x to the 5th cancel. So all you're left with is minus negative 3. Then over here we've got 28 divided by 4 is negative 7, negative 4, I'm sorry. And then all of these cancel all but one of these. So all you're left with is negative 7 over x. So this is going to be minus negative 7 over x. So we need to add a line, change a sign, add a line, change a sign. So my answer is going to be, there we go, 5x plus 3 plus 7 over x. Okay, a common mistake I saw on the quiz where we did a problem like this is even though the x was down here in the denominator, people put it in the numerator. No, it needs to stay in the denominator. Why did I write 8? This should be x. I'm not sure why I decided to write an 8 there. There we go, 7 over x. Okay, so first things first, ignore this negative. It should be positive. Okay, so this is another one we're dividing by the monomial. So split it up. 32x to the 5th, y to the 6th, over 8x cubed, y cubed, minus 16x to the 4th, y to the 4th, over 8x cubed, y cubed. We just split up the denominator. Plus 7x cubed, y cubed, over 8x cubed, y cubed. All right, let's see what cancels. 32 divided by 8 is 4. 3x's changes this to 2x squared. 3 down here changes this to y cubed. So you're left with 4x squared y cubed. Okay, minus 16 divided by 8 is 2. 3x's down here cancel all but 1x up here. 3y's down here cancel all but 1y up here. So you're left with 2xy. So it's minus 2xy. Plus 7/8 doesn't reduce at all. So you know you're going to have 7/8. See if anything else goes in the numerator, anything else goes in the denominator. These x's cancel these x's. These y's cancel these y's. Okay, so you're just actually left with just 7/8. So your answer is 4x squared y cubed minus 2xy plus 7/8. Okay? All right, another one where we're dividing by a monomial, so we're just going to split up the denominator. So we've got 35x to the 7th plus 40x, oh, just kidding. Need a denominator there. Over 5x to the 5th plus 40x to the 5th over 5x to the 5th plus 10x cubed over 5x to the 5th. Okay, so let's see what cancels. 35 over 5 is 7. 5x's down here cancel all but 2x's up here. So I'm left with 7x squared. (40) divided by 5 is 8, and the x to the 5ths actually cancel. So it becomes plus 8. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 3 of these is going to cancel all but 2 of these. So you're left with plus 2 over x squared. If it's in your denominator, you need to leave it in your denominator. So it's 7x squared plus 8 plus 2 over x squared. And that is your final answer. Okay, now we're dividing by a binomial with a coefficient in front of the x that's not 1. So we have to do long division. So you're going to set it up negative 4x plus 3 dividing into 24x squared minus 38x plus 15. So you're going to say negative 4x times what gives me 24x squared? And it's negative 6x. And you go negative 6x times negative 4x is positive 24x squared. Negative 6x times 3 is negative 18x. Always change your signs. These should always cancel out to 0, which they do. And then negative 38 plus x plus negative 38x plus 18x is negative 20x. Bring down your plus 15. Start the whole process again. Negative 4x times what gives me negative 20x? It's going to be plus 5. Now multiply 5 times negative 4x is negative 20x. And 5 times 3 is 15. Change your signs. These cancel away to 0, and actually these cancel away to 0. So your answer has no remainder. It's just negative 6x plus 5. Okay? All right. Same situation here. We have 10x cubed plus x squared minus 70x minus 7 divided by 5x squared minus 35. Because the coefficient is an x squared, or because the term has an x squared and a number in front of the coefficient that's not 1, we have to do long division. Always make sure that your exponents go down by 1. 3, 2, 1, 0. So I'm good. So I've got 10x cubed plus x squared minus 70x minus 7. 5x squared times what gives me 10x cubed? That's going to be 2x. So 2x times 5x squared is 10x cubed. And then 2x times negative 35 is negative 70x. Change your signs. These cancel to 0. Bring down this one. And these cancel to 0. So then you just bring down your negatives minus 7. And you say 5x squared times what gives me x squared. Remember, this is a situation where you can say x squared over 5x squared. These cancel, so you're just left with 1/5. So it's going to be plus 1/5. 1/5 times 5x squared is just x squared. And 1/5 times negative 35 is negative 7. Change your signs. You get 0. So that is your solution. Alright, number 9. Again, we're dividing by something with a coefficient that's not 1 in front of my x term. So I've got to do long division. Check your variables. 3, 1. So we need some placeholders. 16x cubed. I need an x squared value, so I do plus 0x squared minus 21x. And I need a constant, so I do plus 0. So 4x times what gives me 16x cubed? That would be 4x squared. 4x squared times 4x is 16x cubed. 4x squared times negative 1 is negative 4x squared. Change your signs. Your first terms should cancel to 0. They do. 0x squared plus 4x squared is 4x squared. Bring down your minus 21x and start the whole process again. 4x times what gives me 4x squared? That's just going to be 4. So I'm sorry, just going to be x. So you add x. X times 4x is 4x squared. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. Change your signs. First term should cancel away. They do. Negative 21 plus 1 is negative 20x. And bring down your plus 0. 4x times what gives me negative 20x? That's minus 5. Negative 5 times 4x is negative 20x. Negative 5 times negative 1 is positive 5. Change your signs. And you end up with a remainder of negative 5. So you're going to subtract 5, and then you're going to put it over your divisor, which is 4x minus 1. And that is your final answer. Okay, now that we're dividing by something that does not, binomial that does not have a coefficient other than 1, we can use synthetic division. Just remember, you always use the opposite sign of what your divisor is. So in my box, I get negative 3. Make sure your exponents go down by 1. They do. So you list your coefficients, 1, 8, and 7. Remember, drop mama. Drop your first number, multiply. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, and then add. But remember, 8 plus negative 3 is the same as 8 minus 3. So you can look at it any way you want. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. 7 minus 15 is negative 8. Remember, your last number is always your remainder. So you begin with one exponent lower than what you started with. So we started with x squared, so I'm going to go 1x plus 5 minus 8 over x plus 3. And that's going to be your solution. Okay, so we can also use synthetic here. Remember, you use the opposite sign of what you're dividing by, so it's going to be negative 2 instead of positive 2. And this is, it goes 3, 0. So you need to rewrite it. X cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x plus 8. You need 2 placeholders there. So now let's list those coefficients. 1, 0, 0, and 8. So drop mama. Drop, first number, multiply. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And then add. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Multiply. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. And then add. 0 plus 4 is 4. Multiply. Negative 2 and 4 is negative 8. And 8 minus 8 is 0. Remember, this is always your remainder. So we have no remainder this time. We started with x cubed, which means we start my answer with x squared. So it's 1x squared minus 2x plus 4. And that's your final answer. Okay? Okay, again, we can use synthetic here. I'm going to put a positive 4 in the box because it's x minus 4 over here. But notice I start with exponent of 4, and then I go straight down to an exponent of 0. So I need some placeholders here. Okay, so you need x cubed, x squared, and x. You just put a 0 in front of all of them. So my coefficients are 1, 0, 0, 0, and 256. Drop mama. Drop your first number, multiply, add, 0 plus 4 is 4, multiply, 4 times 4 is 16, add, 0 plus 16 is 16, multiply, 16 times 4 is 64, okay, add, multiply, 64 times 4 is 256. And then add. 512. This is your remainder. And I know it seems like you probably did something wrong because you would think those 256s would cancel, but you actually didn't do anything wrong. This is actually correct. All right, so you started with x to the 4th, so you're going to start your solution with x to the 3rd. So I'm going to say 1x cubed plus 4x squared plus 16x plus 64 plus 512 over x minus 4. And that's your answer. Okay, now we've moved into problems where we're going to need to find the LCD. So make sure you have all fractions by putting that over 1. Find your lowest number that 3, 4, and 1 go into evenly. So remember, count by your largest number until you find a number that all 3 go into evenly. So we'll start with 4. Does 3 go into 4 evenly? No, so it's not 4. Let's try 8. Does 3 go into 8 evenly? No, so it's not 8. Let's try 12. Does 3 go into 12 evenly? Yeah. Does 4 go into 12 evenly? Yeah. Does 1 go into 12 evenly? Yeah. So it's 12. Multiply that times every piece. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And 12 divided by 1 is just 12. So you write what you have left, which is 4x minus 3x equals, what is 12 times 6? 72. 4x minus 3x is just x. So x equals 72. Okay. First things first, I'm going to put parentheses around my binomial. Then I'm going to write my LCD. I need an x. And I need an x plus 4. And I need another x plus 4, but I've already got one. So I'm going to multiply that times every piece. and see what cancels. Here my x's cancel, here my x plus 4's cancel, and here my x plus 4's cancel. So let's see what we've got left. We've got x plus 4 plus x equals x times x plus 5. So you want to distribute the x and combine like terms. So this is 2x plus 4 equals x squared plus 5x. Because I have an x squared and an x term, I know I'm going to factor. So I need to get everything on one side equal to 0. So I'm just moving everything from the left over to the right. So I have 0 equals x squared plus 3x minus 4. So now I'm going to factor this. In order to factor it, you need an x in the front of both houses. My signs are plus minus. Factors of 4 that give me 3 are 4 and 1. And remember, this is still equal to 0. So look, you have an x plus 4 here and an x plus 4 here. So you should immediately know that this one isn't going to work. But we're going to do it anyways just to work it out. So you have x plus 4 equals 0 and x minus 1 equals 0. Subtract 4 from both sides. You get x equals negative 4. Over here, add 1 to both sides. You get x equals 1. If I plug negative 4 in, negative 4 is fine here. But here, negative 4 plus 4 is 0. So this one does not work. Let's try 1. This gives me 1. This gives me 5. This gives me 5. 1 is okay. So 1 is my only solution. And I've checked it. Alright. First things first, always put parentheses around your binomials and write them in simplest form. So I can actually factor a 3x out of this, leaving me x plus 1. Now write your LCD. So I need a 4. I need an x. I need an x plus 1. I need a 3, and all I have is a 4 so far. So we're going to change that 4 to a 12, because that's the lowest number that they both go into evenly. I need an x. I've already got one right here. And I need an x plus 1, so I've already got one right here. So my LCD is 12x times x plus 1. So I'm going to multiply that times every piece. Let's see what cancels. Here, the x's cancel. The 12 over 4 becomes 3. Here my x plus 1's cancel. Here the x's cancel and the x plus 1's cancel. And 12 over 3 becomes 4. So let's see what I've got left. I've got 3, x plus 1 and 5, minus 12x and 1 equals 4 times 1. So that leaves me with 3 times 5 is 15 times x plus 1 minus 12x, because it's 12x times 1, equals 4 times 1, which is just 4. Distribute your 15. Keep your minus 12x. So combine like terms. 15x minus 12x is 3x. Plus 15 equals 4. Subtract 15 from both sides. You get 3x equals negative 11. Divide both sides by x, or by 3. You get x equals negative 11 thirds. Now let's plug that back in and see if it gives us 0. Okay, so if I plug it in here, 4 times negative 11 thirds is negative 44 thirds, so we're good. Negative 11 thirds plus 1 is not 0, because the only thing that would put this 0 would be negative 1. And I'm good over here as well, because this is negative 33 over 3, which is negative 3. Negative 11, I'm sorry. And then here is the same as here. So we know that this is a good answer, and we checked it. Okay, first things first, make all your all part of your problem fractions. Your LCD, you need an x, you need a 1, which you don't really need to write, and you need an x, which you've already got. So multiply that times every piece. These x's cancel, these x's cancel. and you're left with 19 is equal to 4x minus 1. Add 1 to both sides, and you get 20 is equal to 4x. Divide both sides by 4, and you get 5 is equal to x. When you plug that back in, it's fine because you just get 5s, so 5 is your answer. Okay. 2 times, so that's 2 times the reciprocal of a number, so 1 over x, equals 28 times the reciprocal of 35, which would be 1 over 35. Find the number. So this gives me 2 over x, and this gives me 28 over 35. Written like this, you can cross multiply. Because remember, if you have a fraction on each side of an equal sign, you can cross multiply. So that gives me 28x equals 70. Divide both sides by 28. You get x is equal to 70 over 28, but that can be reduced. So let's see, what are they both divisible by? They're both divisible by 14. Let's see if I'm right. 70 divided by 14 is 5. 28 divided by 14 is 2. So when you reduce, x is 5 halves. Okay. If 3 times a number, so 3x added to 9, we could just, it really should be 9 plus 3x, but since you're adding, it doesn't matter, is divided by the number x plus 7, the result is 4/3. So put parentheses around these, and you can cross multiply, or you could have found your LCD and done it that way. Either way is fine. So you have 4 times x plus 7 is equal to 3 times 3x plus 9. So distribute. 4x plus 28 is equal to 9x plus 27. Subtract 4x from both sides. You get 28 is equal to 5x plus 27. Subtract 27 from both sides. You get 1 is equal to 5x. Divide both sides by 5. You get x is equal to 1/5. Now plug 1/5 into your denominator here to make sure you don't get 0, and you don't, so you're good. Alright, Sandra scored 72 points in 11 games of the basketball season. Find her average points per game. Round to the nearest whole number if necessary. Okay, so if she has 72 points per game, 72 points over 11 games, I'm sorry. So you would do 72 divided by 11. Let me plug that into my calculator really quick. 72 divided by 11 is approximately 6.54, repeating, points per game. But they told you to round to the nearest whole number. So 6.45 is actually 7 points per game. Okay? Okay, one pump can drain a pool in 7 minutes. When a second pump is also used, the pool only takes 5 minutes to drain. How long would it take the second pump to drain if it were the only pump in use? So the first pump takes 7 minutes. The second pump by itself, we don't know how much that would take, but together when they do the job, it's 5 minutes. Okay, so find your LCD. You need 7 and 5 represented, so 35 is the lowest number, and you need x represented. So you do 35x, 35x, and 35x. 35 divided by 7 is 5. these x's cancel, and 35 divided by 5 is 7. So you have 5x plus 35 is equal to 7x. So you subtract 7x from both sides, and you get 35 is equal to, I don't know what is wrong with me today. This should be 5. You subtract 5x from both sides. So 35 is equal to 2x. Divide both sides by 2, and you get x is equal to 17.5. And that's minutes. And that's 17.5 minutes that it would take the second pump to drain the pool. All right, that's your entire study guide. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.